We're already on to week 2 of hot best ball summer, and the market is moving like crazy. The rookies are already. We didn't have to wait until June, July, August to get the wide receiver run and the rookie run and the young player run, but it's already happened in the first week, in the first few days. So we're going to talk a little bit about the ADP moves already, maybe what some of that means for drafts right now, obviously, and drafts for the rest of the summer, and then obviously what you're here for. We're going to hop into a BBM draft. Let's do it. All right. Silas says he's dealing with some fun Florida weather. It is it's finally nice weather here for us. It's like upper 70s, low 80s. It's been literally cold as shit for weeks, and we finally have some nice weather. But I guess you're getting the opposite end.
Yeah, well, I mean, I live in New Hampshire, so my in-laws are down here. Came down here for a couple weeks. We're down here for 10 days.
I got you.
But yeah, this weekend in New Hampshire, it's supposed to be 80. By the time I'm back, it's supposed to be 90. So I kind of skipped springtime. It's been 55. It's been 55 degrees every day. I'm walking the dog. I'm like, God damn it! I don't even get that nice 70-degree air.
I know. Bullshit. It's awful. That's exactly what happened here, and it's literally we're supposed to have at least I just want that one nice month where I can comfortably go outside, sit outside and all that, and it was instantly gone. We sat outside for Mother's Day for a little while yesterday, and it was useless. I'm sweating my ass off, and it was awful. So real quick just for a few minutes before we hop into a draft, I think it is kind of important, and we'll talk about this obviously throughout the entire offseason, but within the first week, right? The contests have to open with some form of an ADP, and it's naturally going to be stale in some form or fashion. On drafters, it was a little less stale on a lot of the guys. The rookies were obviously the big ones that moved a ton over there. On Underdog, it was definitely the rookies that moved the most, but it was Chiefs moved like crazy, Packers moved like crazy, and everything. But was there anything that just really truly stuck out to you in the first week and how these gigantic shifts we've had?
I mean, definitely the running backs, right? So those round 2, round 3 running backs, the first day, they were priced definitely inefficiently. You could get Lenny in the 50s, Connor in the 80s, 90s. I mean, that's starting to pick back up, and we'll start to see those high T drafters, drafting and getting them into probably that early to mid second round. So, things are probably starting to move in that direction. Wide receivers I've seen naturally just kind of falling, but it's kind of natural. It makes sense because right now those handcuffs in those later rounds, running back is very barren very quickly, from what I've seen. So yeah, definitely the rookies are going up. I don't really love that. They're definitely they're shiny new toys, where everybody's going to be drafting them, and I'll probably stay off them and try and get my ownership later on. But yeah, it's all kind of chaotic. Even we did one last week. I would still put it in that category where go get your guys. Don't care about ADP. It's still relatively inefficient. I mean, it's what 3-4% now filled. But it's everything's going to continue as more content comes out. Things are going to change pretty rapidly.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one thing. It probably doesn't need to be said, but we have the joke, right? That's from the first few days, some of the drafts, right? Paul mentions in the chat, Sky Moore's ADP is 87 now. He had no ADP when Underdog opened, right? Because of just how it worked when they launched the contest. So if you were in a sharp draft, he obviously wasn't going in the last round. But I happened to get one random team with Sky Moore in the 18th round. It's easy to joke where it's the winning team was already drafted on day one, but that that is obviously not true and doesn't matter with so few teams have been drafted, and the chances that any of them are actually going to end up in the final, is so minimal that it's really not a big deal. However, to your point, kind of about the rookie thing, that was, I guess, the main thing I really wanted to touch on before we dove into a draft. Is that's the big change that we've seen. Obviously, like the Chiefs, mainly the Chiefs. The Packers is not even quite as much, but the Chiefs and rookies are the ones that have risen up the most, and it's going to be something that I think we really have to like balance. Like even last year, we could just you could really just like default to the young guy or the rookie like almost whenever. Obviously, you don't want to draft 18 rookies, but later in drafts, right? Just you could take the young guy. The market has figured that out. Like I'm not saying everybody is priced efficiently, but like Sky Moore could not play for the Chiefs. Like this is not like there's no certainty that he's even out there to start. To start games. At least Amon-Ra was starting. He wasn't awesome, but he would we don't know what's going to go on with these guys, but the market is smartly, seeing the upside of the young players. So I think that's going to be the thing over the next couple of months that we have to balance. Obviously I see the upside with all these young guys, mainly the rookies too, but we can't chase all these guys up the board, right? That's how you run into Laviska. That's how you run into Brandon Ayuk. You're chasing Chase, but there also doesn't have to be a chase. Like Jamar Chase doesn't have to exist amongst these guys too. Absolutely. So that balance is the big thing for me.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of natural with how everybody's getting moved up is they're going to elite offenses that have so much vacated target share and market share that it's got to go naturally to somebody. Everybody wants a piece of the Chiefs, so everyone's like, okay, I'm going to grab my Chief at the earliest possible convenience. Whereas you think back to the last couple of years, they weren't going to great offenses. Just go into the Jags. He didn't have anyone throwing to him. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence in year 2, but even then, we had no idea what Trevor Lawrence would be in the NFL. We know what Aaron Rodgers, we know what Patrick Mahomes are going to be. So people want they naturally want their weapons.
Yeah.
So it is finding that balance.
Morgan says James Conner to the moon. That is, I know Silas mentioned that already, but there was a handful of those backs that weren't going that high before we started the draft season because we didn't know what was going to happen in the NFL draft, Absolutely. Right? I mean, we didn't know where Breece Hall was going to go, Kenneth Walker on down the list. And it just so happens that James Conner didn't, he got your guy Keontae Ingram in the 6th round, but he didn't get anything, so he went from an 8th round pick to now he's a, 2nd or 3rd round pick. So let's go ahead and hop in and we can kind of keep talking through. I'm sure we'll run into all these crazy steamy names as we go. As Jay Monroe says, the steam is real on Sky. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen somebody. I don't think I've ever seen somebody
shot up the board so quickly,
fast.
To me, I don't even think I have a single Sky Moore share. I don't know if I will all year.
My 18th round. My 18th round Sky Moore is the only one I have.
It makes no sense to me. I would much rather have Juju at his price. I'd much rather have MVS at his price. Hell, I'd rather have Mecole Hardman, where he's going, rather than throwing in the rookie that we have no idea what the chemistry will be like. It baffles me.
Yeah, and obviously we get he's a good prospect, the landing spot, blah blah blah. But we've been talking in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, please make sure go to spikeweek.com, go to Discord at the top, 100% free, literally round the clock. It's crazy. It's absolutely these first couple of weeks have just been crazy. But we've been talking about whether things are factored in to ADP and how do you balance that? So 2 things that came to mind. One I tweeted about earlier today was Rachaad White. And I don't think it's been totally factored into his ADP yet, but I could see it happening where he it's similar to a Sky Moore situation. He's coming in and it all seems perfect, right? Draft capital is there. Prospect profile is good. And we want a piece of this Bucs offense. He's got an old Lenny running back in front of him. We don't think they like Keyshawn Vaughn. Gio is probably dust. So he's the dreamiest handcuff you can get, right? Especially as a pass catcher with Tom Brady. Yeah. So it all seems to smell like roses, but there are factors going against him. This is Tom Brady. Tom Brady is, approaching 50. He's not going to be around much longer. He's trying to win a Super Bowl. He has historically never, ever, basically allowed the rookies into the backfield with him, right? He doesn't trust them. Typically, they're not good pass protectors. They don't understand, audibles at the line of scrimmage. They're probably not necessarily the best. If you can't pass protect, you can understand the audibles. You're also probably not great. James White isn't out there running CMC routes. He kind of is. They're running option routes. You have to be able to read the defense as a receiver. And so when these guys can't do that, Brady defaults to the veteran, right? Because Lenny is not an awesome receiver. He's not an awesome football player. He's fine. But he's just, Brady trusts him, right? And so Rachaad White has that risk where he's just a rookie, baby. He gets Trey Sermon, right? Somebody, it was different, but maybe Keyshawn Vaughn has earned it. Maybe Gio maybe he was hurt last year and we just didn't know. There's tons of outs for him to just literally never get on the field, And so the Sky Moore thing, we start chasing Sky Moore's, Rachaad White's, et cetera, up the board. I'm not saying we've gone past that point for those guys yet specifically, but it is something we have to start considering. Whereas last year it was whatever. Those guys were 16th round picks. We got them whenever we wanted to. You could chase them all the way up to the 12th round, and it's just different this year.
Yeah. And they're a team that's going for it, right? There's 100% or not 100%. There's definitely a chance they trade for someone in preseason, bring somebody in that's more of a veteran, that they'll trust more. They like Lenny because he's really good at pass blocking. He's really good at picking up coverages, and who knows what the hell Rachaad White is. It's similar to James Cook, right? He's moving up crazily through the draft boards. He's not as crazy, or he's higher than Rachaad White, but what is he going to be? Could he be J.D. McKissic, where he catches, he gets 10 touches a game? Or is he going to truly overtake as expected? Question for you, Jefferson or Chase? That's where I'm at.
I've been taking Jefferson over Chase. I don't really have it. That's one of those. I think we talked a little bit about this before the draft, where everybody's kind of split on that, the Jefferson versus Chase thing, and some people are split on them versus Cup too. And
that's me.
I'm not sure it's really worth debating. Even any three of those guys. Honestly, if somebody wanted to tell me that Chase was their number one receiver, I get it. I lean slightly towards Jefferson. Pat Crane, he made some really good points earlier this offseason about Jefferson, where they're both very similar, Chase and Jefferson. I know Chase did the big crazy game at the end of the year, but overall for this, and they're fairly similar. And Jefferson is the one getting the upgrade to the offense. They didn't add target competition for him, and he's getting the new theoretically upgrade to the offense, getting the new coaching staff, getting away from the boomer coaching staff, right? Hopefully they pass more, et cetera. Thielen is getting older, so I kind of am just leaning towards that. But we're just flipping coins. I love both of them. I want them both on my teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My only concern for Jefferson would be, is it less condensed? They had such a condensed target share that, are they really going to give him 30 to 35% to really elevate him to wide receiver one? But I was talking to Numi the other day, and I'm really warming on him, Jefferson being my wide receiver one overall.
Wow.
Is Cup going to be, or is he going to replicate the season that he had? He was awesome last year. He's been fantastic. He's a great route runner. They added Allen Robinson. They might bring back OBJ, bring both of them in for a full year. We'll kind of see what happens. I'm still really bullish on the Rams offense, but yeah, give me the young stud in Justin Jefferson, who can literally beat you in all three levels.
Yeah. It's I don't know if Ross is trolling me or agreeing with me and telling us to stop talking about these two guys, but that is generally my take, and that's how I feel about Cup too. I feel it would be stupid. I'm happy to take stands. That we'll talk about some probably today. I'm happy to take stands on certain fragile guys or whatever. None of those three guys are the fragile. They're probably the least fragile picks in fantasy football this year. I'm not gonna be no, I'm taking 0 Cooper Kupp, because I agree he probably can't replicate it, but like I don't want to have
what happens if he does.
but he can't. Yeah, but like it's not 0% chance, right? And then I wish I would have had him. So
no,
yeah,
absolutely.
okay. You know, it's some there. We need sarcasm fonts. Trust me, I've learned, Ross. We need sarcasm fonts. See, Chris G has probably already maxed BBM, and he took Chase every time.
He hasn't
from
done
the one
a single draft. You'd be surprised.
moved on.
He's currently
Totally.
in Panama.
Oh, okay. Flip strategies from last year. Maxed it by June 1st, and now we're not going to do any. Okay, we've definitely Saquon is my favorite guy here. Lenny, obviously Swift, AJ Brown. This is where I love taking those wide receivers is these running backs are great here. I don't have a strong take on any of them. Saquon, like I said, is my favorite guy, but I haven't taken Kamara. What are you doing with Kamara versus those guys?
So I'm actually I've been thinking about it. I took my first Dalvin share today at 17 just because he fell a little bit. I will probably be in on Kamara a little bit later. However, he'll probably get steamed. So I should probably start getting my exposure now once the season gets out. I don't think Kamara gets suspended this year because typically the NFL usually waits brings in evidence and takes about a year. And his DUI was his arrest happened at the Pro Bowl, so it was in February. Yeah. It's only 3 months, so I don't really expect it to happen this year. Whereas Dalvin Cook is probably going to get suspended this year just due to the negative publicity that came out.
Yeah, I think I haven't taken either of them yet, and I don't know if that's right, wrong, or what. That's just been my approach. But I also think just from a kind of a projections and ceiling standpoint, I guess if you think that there's no risk in those guys from a suspension standpoint, they're a little bit better than this range, but I'm not sure that they even are better, from a ceiling or projection standpoint than Saquon, Aaron Jones, Chubb, Lenny, Connor, right? I don't see the difference, and so I just been taking those guys.
I would actually argue that Lenny, Fournette, Connor actually have higher upside than Kamara.
Yeah.
Maybe not Cook, but we'll actually see what happens with the new coaching staff.
I like AJ Brown. I like AJ Brown falling here.
I think that's what I was gonna say.
It's negligible, but I was still taking him kind of late. I don't really think that much has changed for me. Like if we want to debate, he should go the 208 or the 302. Like whatever, that's just whether you prefer one of the running backs. I think, but I think it's very possible we look back with how bullish everybody is on the Eagles. Only one of two things can really happen, right? We look back and we're like, why the hell, if we were so excited about the Eagles, did we let AJ Brown fall further than he was going the last 2 years? Yep. Or we're all just fucking wrong about the Eagles. That's it. It can't it has to really be, I just don't see how he can, if the Eagles do well, how he can disappoint. Maybe he's not, doesn't set the world on fire, but I just don't know how he did, kind of like the first round wide receivers we talked about. I don't see how they can disappoint outside of, maybe the quarterback getting hurt. And if Hurts gets hurt, I don't think it really matters. They'll just bring Minshew in, and it's going to be the same for AJ Brown.
Yeah, and I think he has a pretty safe floor. He'll probably be a mid-tier wide receiver 2 at worst. But I think his upside and ceiling case definitely fell. Before in Tennessee, he definitely had wide receiver 1 overall if he could stay healthy. Whereas now, he's probably in that Mike Evans type tier of safe, a low, mid wide receiver 1, probably a low end wide receiver 1. But you're gonna get those boom games where he goes posts a 8 for 168 and 2, and you're just oh my god, this is wonderful.
It's a way better Mike Evans, right? It's a juiced
exactly.
up. If Mike Evans, who's way better at football, and Mike Evans is good, but AJ Brown is just on a different level.
Yeah, and let's just hope that him and Justin Jefferson are alternating weeks. So
Yeah, right. Lundar says, I don't think there's any risk with Dalvin missing time based on what has happened or not happened post incident. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I have no idea. It's kind of it's not the same thing, but the Deshaun Watson thing, I'd be lying to you if I said I could predict it. So I'm not really factoring it in. What I will say is I'm lower on Dalvin than the market if I knew today 100% he wasn't getting suspended. This is not a young running back. This is not a guy who's been super healthy for his entire career. We have a new coaching staff, which adds an element of uncertainty. He's being drafted pretty much as though he's just still the workhorse. And that's what I would project too. But you just don't know. Like, you could come in and it's more like 60-40 or 70-30, in which case he's, I already kind of want these other guys. And so that's kind of my stance on Dalvin.
Yeah, and I kind of go back to what I said earlier. Like, the NFL doesn't care about whether you're guilty, not guilty, or whatever. All they care about is negative public perception. So just because he was in the news, like, he's probably getting suspended. He probably won't get 6 games. He probably won't get 4 games. It'll probably be minor, and he'll probably only get like 2 games. And again, this is totally off base. I'm not saying I know anything, but the NFL does stupid things for stupid reasons, and they're just going to continue to operate in that fashion. So, it doesn't matter if he stubs his toe and, he's on TMZ. The NFL will find a way to be like, no, you don't get paid.
That is true. This is a tricky range. What do you like to do here?
I really like Lamar here, but I wouldn't say no to Patrick Mahomes just because I feel like it's an interesting build.
See, I'm definitely on Lamar over Mahomes, but if you think there's a stack with Mahomes that you prefer, then I'm down for that. But I like Lamar. I like Lamar here.
Yeah, let's just grab Lamar. I only said Mahomes.
Can you zoom this in a smidge? Can you zoom in the screen just a smidge?
Yeah. That good?
Perfect.
More?
That's perfect.
All right.
That's perfect.
Yeah, no, it's just it's an interesting place for Mahomes to be. I haven't seen him at the 410, so that's the only reason why he was in consideration. I have Lamar higher ranked.
Have you done any kind of these like double elite quarterback teams? I've seen Hayden Wings from Underdog is in the chat, and he's not necessarily promoting like double tapping Lamar and Mahomes here, but just the with the sheer raw points that these elite quarterbacks are scoring and the advantage it can give you, I do feel like this range is not great for the other positions, and so it's something I've been considering at least a little bit. Lamar, Kyler, Mahomes, Herbert, whatever. Have you done any like that?
I personally haven't done anything like that. Highest double quarterback I've taken is Hurts and then Lance, just because I'm a Lance nut. Nobody there.
I think Sutton is my Gabe Sutton. I don't have any juju yet, but I don't. It's not for any real reason.
Yeah, that's probably it for me. I don't really like any of the running backs. Let's go Sutton.
I hate the running backs.
I'll give you your pick.
I obviously love Gabe, but I do think I think they're right next to each other for me.
Yeah. There's no real stacks either, so I grab the better guy. We know what Sutton can do. We're more projecting with Gabe.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think it's an interesting thing because Gabe's got steamed a little bit too. I'm kind of happy that I've done like 18 teams or something like that, and Gabe's one of my highest own players, and whatever that means. But it's definitely 100% projecting. But I also feel like this range of these wide receivers is like all projection. I totally agree. Like, we know what Sutton can do, but like, who the hell exactly knows how that's gonna break out in Denver, right? Juju, you tell me how the Chiefs targets are gonna get chopped up. Elijah Moore is at the top of the queue now. Like, I love Elijah Moore as a player. Am I getting the wide receiver 3 for Zach Wilson's offense? So it's just so much uncertainty in this whole like round 5, 6, 7 or something like that. So you could have mentioned it earlier. Like, if you have a preference on a guy, particularly if you think he's going to get steamed, like Gabe, like Sutton kind of has too, I just lean towards that guy.
Yep. What are your thoughts?
What do you think about this? Hayden mentioned this just since we have Jefferson and we have a couple minutes here before you pick. Have you done anything with the Thielens and the Cousins, maybe Irv, anybody like that?
I'm in on Irv this year. I was in on Irv last year. Just the Achilles tear freaking killed me.
Yep.
So definitely in on him. He's 25. He was an animal at Bama, and I think he's going to continue that. I do have some Thielen, just because he's literally being slept on. Like, I don't understand why
He's
every
so
year
cheap.
Thielen posts like a high wide receiver 2 year, and then every year his value just gets, or his ADP just goes down. And I get it. Like eventually he's probably not going to post like 10 plus touchdowns. But why not another year? I mean, we've been saying it with Brady forever. Like, he's just a good wide receiver.
Yep. Yeah, he didn't slow. I mean, again, he got dinged up last year, but he didn't slow down last year. He was going to have another awesome year.
He had like 8 touchdowns through 8 weeks. It was every week the man was just scoring another touchdown. I'm gonna lock button Rashad Bateman just to have the stats.
100%. Yep.
Okay. I debated him at the last pick, but I was like, well, we might as well just hope he falls.
I pulled out the magic fucking 8-ball today for he put Bateman's on the thumbnail, and
beautiful.
He falls perfectly to us in a Lamar stack. Are you know he's been one of the biggest risers. What are you targeting him in general more so in Lamar stacks? How are you handling Bateman now without Hollywood?
I think I'm more targeting Mark Andrews, which I found myself kind of more clicking on him recently. And then I'm kind of prioritizing Lamar with him, but I think that's my first share of Bateman. I loved him in like the 110 to like 90 to 110 range, but this is just getting too rich for my blood. I loved Bateman coming out. I think he's a boss, but where that offense is going to run the ball a million times, and I'm just too afraid that he's actually going to get a target share.
See, this is a tough range here too.
I would consider DeAndre Hopkins here.
I haven't taken
anyone.
CH or one of the tight ends, I think is fine. I prefer Schultz to.
Let's grab Schultz. I'll grab Schultz. I think I have too much of CH. I don't know if I don't really like him here.
Yeah. I really like Schultz though. Dallas low key is kind of. So maybe this is a bad thing too, but Dallas low key is kind of hurting on offense, right? The superstar offensive line is getting older. They're losing some guys. It's maybe, I don't think it's a weakness, but it's certainly not quite the level of strength we used to see. They're going to keep trotting Dusty Zeke out there, and Amari's gone, and Gallup's coming off a blown out knee, and they didn't replace it. Cedric Wilson's gone too. Unless Jalen Tolbert is a freaking superstar,
baby.
And I mean, unless James Washington remembers how to play football and Jalen Tolbert is a star, the offense is maybe a little bit sketchy. And we saw what happened. The offense was like up and down last year, and that just led to Schultz targets like crazy. So I think I'm not like going out of my way to like load up 30% Dalton Schultz, but I like him over Hawk. I like him over Hawkinson.
I do like him over Hawkinson. They're the same player. They're the same player, but one has a better quarterback, and we actually know that he'll actually target that quarterback. Hawkinson just had so many games that he disappeared last year, and it absolutely murdered me in DFS.
I like him. Yeah, I mean, I'm in on the they've kind of become not trendy, but I think people are coming around to the Lions with just all the weapons that they have now. It's like if Goff can just not be terrible, which I think he was,
he's decent. He's like an average. He's like maybe just below average NFL quarterback. Like he's fine.
I would call it slightly below average, which is fine when you have all these weapons. But like when there is DeAndre Swift and there is Jameson Williams and there is DJ Chark and there is Amon-Ra St. Brown and they're gonna be run heavy. And Jared Goff is we were paying for Hawk last year because we thought the target share would be insane. And now we know the target share isn't going to be insane because he never really earned it last year. And they added more target competition. So I don't know. I like a lot of these other guys over Hawkinson. Like I think he might fall start falling too, because I think that's the public sentiment. At which point I think he'll turn into a good buy.
Well, his ADP started, I want to say, in the 60s, so he is falling a little bit. But even then, like, I feel like I never see him go in the 70s, yet his ADP is still there.
Yeah, true.
Like that part never really made sense to me.
I know that is interesting. I'm really fascinated to see what some of these guys, because I have fairly strong opinions on. I know we're up here on who.
That was a bad run. We had the last 4 picks. I wanted all of them. What are your thoughts on Hunt?
I still like Hunt.
Singletary.
I'm very iffy. I'm very iffy on at this price. I don't really.
Darius Toney. We're running low on time.
I'm good with Hunt. Hunt is nice because if he stays, I know they have Dearness, but if he stays, he was the 6th round pick. Like I think we talked about this last week. He was a totally good, reasonable 6th round pick. He's going to get work in an efficient offense. He's going to score touchdowns no matter what. And he has contingent upside if something happens. And if he goes elsewhere, who knows? Like maybe it ends up bad for him, but it also could end up really fucking good for him. And he's a screaming value. So,
well, you brought up Dearness. I was actually reading something today that Dearness Johnson might actually get cut. Like they signed him to a very minimum like contract. I believe it's only a 1-year deal. Like there's a chance he doesn't make the roster. They drafted somebody. He doesn't really replace Hunt's role, so he's kind of exchangeable. I don't really like Edmonds. Unless you do.
I'm cool with Tony. I'm cool with Tony here. Set up.
I'm also.
I'm on the Giants.
Would you be interested in Claypool at all?
Oh yeah,
because we have that back to back. So just in case they play week 16, 17.
Let's do that.
All right.
Yeah, this is interesting. So you or Hayden have to correct me. So they tendered him. He was exclusive rights, right, or something. What was
early restricted free agent? I believe.
Yeah, earlier. So like, he's not making any money because of the deal in the CBA, which is where he's at from being an early restricted free agent. He's just basically fucked. But he's too good for that. He's a good quality running back, and so they obviously were going to tender him at that. But that doesn't mean they could be trying to trade him. I don't know. But I find it really hard to believe. The NFL teams make me look stupid all the time, but I find it so hard to believe that an organization clearly trying to win now, like the Browns, would keep both Hunt and Dearness. I have no idea which one it's going to be, but like I've been drafting both of them, basically is what I'm saying, because like I don't see how they end in a situation where like you don't want to have these guys on your best ball teams.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but
no. I mean, Rob's been on Dearness. I've been on Dearness. I think he's great. He filled in admirably. I'm just concerned that he's actually staying in Cleveland. Whether it's a trade, whether it's they decide to just revoke the tender just because save some cap room. Not that they need it, because they could easily find a way to get rid of Baker. But who did they draft? The guy from Cincinnati.
Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford, who is essentially the Kareem Hunt backup. Yep. So maybe they're just treating Dearness Johnson as the Kareem Hunt backup, and they're going to keep him on their roster, and they're trying to work something with Hunt. And I mean, there's definitely some teams that could use Hunt.
There's teams that we were talking about the Bucks. Why would the Bucks not want Kareem Hunt or Dearness? They're better than Rashad. They're both better than Rashad. Why the Cardinals? That would be coffins to my early Eno teams and your Keontae Ingram teams. But why would the Cardinals not want Kareem Hunt?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like all these teams that are trying to win, both of them make a lot of sense. So I just think
Miami.
My 100. Like I just draft these guys. Just fucking draft these guys because they like can't end up in a bad situation really. Like even if they both stay, it's fine for Hunt, and Dearness obviously needs to run really pure, but it's not like he's not stone dead.
Yep. Buy talent. Buy the talent.
Yeah.
They're gonna play. They'll find one way or another to play. I'm interested in James Cook here.
Okay. And then a receiver, it's definitely the top two guys are in a different tier.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, I didn't see Tyler Boyd. Yeah, let's go Tyler Boyd. I'm gonna think we're probably stopping at 6. Not 6. We're probably stopping at 7 or 8 here. Just because I really like our wide receivers.
Yeah.
For those on the podcast feed, through what is that? We're through 10 rounds. Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, Chase Claypool, Tyler Boyd, and Dalton Schultz. And another thing that I wasn't thinking about, Tyler Boyd, correlation to Lamar and Rashad Bateman. So another out.
And Claypool, yep. And I just Boyd is the guy who seems unsexy, but those can be the guys. Like, I know he's not the young archetype like Amon-Ra was, but Amon-Ra was like the third or fourth option on an offense. And all of a sudden at the end of the year, he's the fucking go-to guy. Yep. And like, if Jamar Chase goes down, we pass on Jamar Chase for Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase goes down, and Tyler Boyd is, the man now right there with T. Higgins in an awesome offense. He's just a smash. So, I want those guys. Claypool's kind of in a, not as good of an offense, but just all these guys in crowded that are just good. Yeah. Like, I just want, like you said, same thing with the Browns running backs. Like, just buy the good player and let everything else work itself out.
Let's see. I kind of have some interest in Rashad Penny. Rashad White is on top of our queue. I don't really want to think of a quarter or what we could think of a wide receiver. I'm interested in Fields a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fields is just fancy Daniel Jones, though.
He is, and we probably should set that up. Do you have anyone else?
I'm cool with Penny. What's your Penny take? He's falling. Obviously, the Seahawks are a laughing stock, but
I mean, what are you thinking of? They're gonna run the football a million times, so I mean, it's gonna be him and Ken Walker. Ken Walker obviously has the higher ADP, so I'm naturally just gonna flock to whoever is cheaper. He'll probably end up getting, probably maybe 15 touches a game, but if Ken Walker gets hurt or they just give him the backfield, like, we know what he can do. Granted, the offense isn't that great, and we have to deal with Drew Lock, but if they can, maybe they strike gold. Drew Lock figures it out with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and then you have
that would be something.
I mean, he's in a great division, so chances are he's going to be able to touch the football, and he can catch passes. So
Fields is Daniel Jones. Fields is Daniel Jones with worse coaching and worse weapons. Yeah, that it really sucks. I wanted to be in on Rob Coakley, who you guys will see tomorrow night. It was wanting to very heavily invest in the Bears, months ago when we first started this offseason, and they have certainly not helped any of that. It is very tough.
What, you don't think Velus Jones wide receiver 1 season's happening?
Hey, look, he's a perfect kind of conversational point around with the Seahawks too. I know we're about to be up, and it's kind of crazy that how high. I didn't realize that it was not off of ADP, and I was like, that felt like that was early for Will Fuller to be at the top of the queue. But
well, we're right about there. We're at pick 140.
Yeah, but he'd been closer to the top for a little bit.
He's my pick here.
I was
going to pick him. Yep. I was going to pick him last pick. We talked about it today. If he does manage to sign with the Ravens, like, wheels up.
Where could he go that you're not happy about him at this pick? I've been trying to process.
Nowhere.
I can't think of anywhere.
I guess maybe Pittsburgh, like, just because it's a crowded backfield.
But they're not even gonna, like, there's no way, like, there's no reasonable way he goes there. Like, I can't think of a reasonable place that Will Fuller
guess the one place that I don't even think he's been rumored to would be the Patriots, just because I'd be afraid that he couldn't get the football. Yeah. And they do need a wide receiver. I mean, granted, they traded for Devontae Parker, but
and drafted Tyquan Thornton in the fucking second round, which is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, they supposedly want to add speed, so maybe they're just done with Aguilar and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see here. What pick is this? 148. We can wait on Jones. I am a Daniel Jones stan.
We can wait on. I'm fine with a bunch of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I think we can wait here.
What's your thoughts on James Robinson?
Oh, I'm really struggling with him. I'm really struggling with him because like I don't love. This is a fine price for him. I think he's really been falling though too. If we go running back, I'm fine with him. These other guys are gonna.
But that's probably too many Baltimore guys.
Yeah, so I really love just like single stacking Lamar with Bateman or Andrews.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want, maybe they, like you said, they get Fuller or they don't, and we go to, you go to a Tylan Wallace or something later in a couple months. But I really like just being like, let's get like that Lamar MVP season, and all the fucking touchdowns go to one or two guys, the studs, and Lamar's running a lot. I prefer to build for that outcome, but James Robinson is one of those really tricky guys for me because obviously, I mean, the biggest thing is the injury where, based on the little bit, that I've listened to, like Josh Norris has talked about it a little bit, where they seem to still be saying like Robinson's like the lead and ETN's still kind of the change of pace weapon guy, which is frustrating for ETN, but with the new coaching staff, we just didn't know.
Yep.
But you have a guy who was not exactly the most explosive of backs off of a serious injury in an offense. How excited are we, for that? So I don't know. It's tricky. I just know he's in a range now where I think I'll mix him in a little bit versus, like last year or even a little bit before, I was just totally out. But you get to the 13th, 14th, 15th round, I think I'll mix him in a little bit, like just in case the Jags are a little bit better and he's fine.
I mean, he's at the same price he was before Etienne got hurt. And I mean, I had some of him last year. He paid off. Granted, he was going in the third round at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he should naturally pay off. But he is just a good running back. Granted, it's a new coaching staff for both of them. So neither of them. He was an undrafted free agent, so new coaching staff. They've shown that he can actually produce. And Etienne was the first round pick for the last coaching staff that everyone now considers like the laughing stock of the NFL. So do they actually want to play him? I think they might actually use Etienne in more of like that slot role, kind of like a wing back, just because of the chemistry that he has with Trevor Lawrence. But there's a chance they just want to run straight forward with James Robinson and run him to the ground and hopefully like pray he doesn't get a second contract.
Yeah. I kind of think I've kind of been thinking about it, assuming health with James Robinson, that it's a little bit of like the old Kamara and Mark Ingram, or Kamara and Latavius Murray, in terms of like how they want to use him, right? Kind of like you said, Kamara plays running back, and he kind of, he's a little bit more of just like Etienne's a weapon. Like he's not like a traditional running back, right? So that's kind of how I've been kind of thinking about it. But then you're like, those are the roles, but it's on the Jags. So like, do I even want I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but they're a difficult one because, there's a lot of opportunity available. I like some of the talent. We were buying some of this talent last year, and it's like, well, if everybody's thinking they're still just going to stink, and maybe what if it was Urban Meyer? What if Visca did suck? What if Christian Kirk and these guys do make them competent and they're all free now? Besides ECN, everybody's free.
Yep. Quick thing. Alec Pierce just went in the 14th round.
Oh, God damn it.
What are you doing to us, Beimfohr?
What the fuck, man?
I'm gonna take Daniel Jones.
Oh, yes.
We don't drop
Now we're talking.
Even though actually we have Saquon, so he is stacked.
Saquon and
no, we didn't take Tony. We went to Claypool over Tony.
There's a 17th, 18th rounder. It's ready.
I know what you're talking about.
Always ready, always there. That's why I the Giants. I'm gonna have too much Giants because the fallback stacks are like, if you missed on something, just freaking stack the Giants. Like it, even if it's not like, we'll talk about the guy who I'm gonna bring up. I'm sure it's the same guy that you have, but there's more options than even just the most exciting one. Like the other ones you may not really want to click on, but it's available to you.
Yeah. Why is he going in the 160s? Like, people should be excited about this offense.
I know. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
It's like he's not like he doesn't have to be Josh Allen to be good. He could be 75 or 80% Josh Allen and be very compatible for fantasy football. Like, you don't have to be good at football to be good at fantasy football. And I think people are kind of missing that.
I know. It doesn't. I don't understand his price, and he is absolutely gonna, Lucy with the football. He's gonna suck, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, I told you he sucked." I'm prepared for that.
Yeah. I have interest in Logan Thomas, but I'm okay with waiting. I like DPJ here.
No, you like DPJ. See, I like DPJ and Tolbert both here. Yeah, if we're gonna go wide receiver, I want it to be one of these kind of younger down the field type guys. We have Hunt, right? We have Hunt.
Yeah, we do have Hunt, and it's Lamar, so we're still stacking the AFC.
I like DPJ then.
All right.
Because we don't have Dallas, we do have Daniel Jones, so
I
guess
we could, that's another point. I was actually because we took someone.
That was our 8th wide receiver though.
We're done.
We have Schultz. So okay. I'm trying to think about this now. So one more tight end.
One more tight end.
One more running back at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so 2592, which means did Tolbert go anyway?
No, he is not gone. He's right
okay.
here. I took everybody out of my queue.
So then if we if I'm guessing he won't be around, but if he were to happen to still be around, it would have to be stacking one of the shitty Giants tight ends as the stack with Jones, and then taking Tolbert versus taking the wide receiver and getting an actual tight end that's going to score fantasy points as our second tight end.
I mean, there's definitely options still available.
I like the late tight ends.
I do too.
Probably a death sentence because I feel like we talk ourselves into a lot of these guys every year, but I really do feel like this year is different, right? It'll be November, and we'll clip this. Rob is in the chat. Clip this off because you'll be like, you're a moron for thinking that. But I really do feel like that. Like, there's Gerald Everett is not a bad football player. He's on the freaking Chargers. They didn't add any weapons. He's super free. We saw what CJ Uzomah did. Hayden Hurst is not worse than CJ Uzomah. Let's call him.
He might even be better.
He might
be
better.
First round pick.
Yeah, he once upon a time he was, I think he's like this is like his 5th year and he's like 30, but he was a first round pick. There's some of the like ambiguous situations like the Colts, like the Giants. Brevin Jordan is back there, right? I'm sure I'm missing guys. There's a lot of guys, I think. Austin Hooper, right?
Who else are they going to throw to?
Yeah, 0 target. I mean, they may throw for 75 yards a game, but he might get 60.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot to like at late tight end, and I actually think last year it was like, you want to talk about tons of projection, like we talked about earlier with those wide receivers. That's what it was with all the late round tight ends last year. It was like I was taking Mo Alley Cox because I'm like, let's hope and pray maybe he does something. Now it's like I feel like there's actual real projectable roles for these guys with upside.
Let's see, let's take a gander because we're on the clock next. But yeah, totally agree.
Is this another Trey Lance joke? I swear to God.
Well, I was actually gonna say that. Yeah, Trey Lance is gonna play this year. Were you thinking about Wandale? Yeah.
Yes.
Sterling Shepard's still there though.
I think I've talked myself into Wandale over Shepard.
Okay. He was taken. Oh my God.
Oh shit, Shepard. Now take Shepard.
I
wanted Shepard anyway. I wanted Shepard.
Of course we did.
We wanted Shepard anyway. It was a deep.
Where did he go? Oh, he went right there. God, Austin Vander.
No, I like Wandale. He's, trust me, I and you and everybody understands the size issues.
Yeah.
And what that does from a limitation standpoint. But this is a 2nd round pick. We're buying the Brian Daboll thing. It's
handpicked.
Isaiah McKenzie is small and was basically just a return man and not as good of a football player as Wandale Robinson, and was putting up some monster weeks. He ran Cole Beasley out of town. Yeah. And so I think Wandale can do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. My only concern is like, did they draft him to be the Tony replacement? And obviously Tony's in the building. Kind of seems like
Yep.
everything's all good and dandy. It could be just to kind of drive his price back up. But like I'm like afraid that he's not going to be able to get on the field. I obviously want pieces of the Giants offense, and that's probably why I won't take a lot of Wandale. Is just because I'm afraid that he's not going to be on the field, and then it's basically a wasted pick. But you're really not using any draft capital, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep. All right.
We're on the clock.
Hurst.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
We have Boyd. We have that division.
Yep.
He sets the secondary stack. They both have the same contingent value, right?
The only other one I was going to say was Cameron Brate.
Yeah, I like Brate. What I've been doing with these tight ends is mixing them through when they make sense, right?
Yep.
If I had Mike Evans, I'm going to take Cameron Brate, right? Certainly if you have Brady, but like even in your secondaries, that's the thing I think that people fuck up the most. But everybody knows you got Tom Brady and Mike Evans. Yeah, congrats. Like that's not very difficult, but like figuring out how, like that's the diversification thing. People talk about diversification and all that. It's not that. It's natural diversification, drafting the guys that they all project the same. You tell me, Hayden Hurst, Cameron Brate, Brevin Jordan. I don't know, but did you draft Brandon Cooks? Take Brevin Jordan and just give yourself that secondary stack, right? Or maybe you took Davis Mills. I don't know, but like that's when I'm really trying to cycle through this guys real quick. The Wandale thing. This is my new take.
Okay.
They did not. I know they drafted the one kid from San Diego State, but Ricky Seals-Jones is not keeping anybody off the field.
Yeah.
And prior to last year, they didn't play a tight end a ton, right? Dawson Knox kind of broke out, and they started to play a little bit more with a tight end on the field in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I think Daboll may want to just go back to a lot more 10 personnel.
Okay.
And which gives him outs to play all of those wide receivers, right? You can get Wandale and Shepard on the inside with Galladay and Tony, or move Shepard, right? Move Tony around, move Wandale around, move Wandale into the backfield a little bit with Saquon. I just think
keep
kind
them
of
all
the talent.
Fresh. No, that makes sense.
The talent thing too, right? Like, we're excited about the offense. He's got the draft capital. I think he's talented, even though he's, the size of one of my dogs. But like, I'm willing to take that shot and kind of see how it goes. Cause I do think there are outs to just for wide receiver stuff and them figuring out how to get him on the field.
No, that totally makes sense. And they'll probably rotate people, kind of keep everybody in line. They can use them in the backfield, like you said.
Let's run through the roster. Let's run through the roster whenever.
That's a good idea. So through 17 rounds, Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, James Robinson, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, Chase Claypool, Tyler Boyd, Will Fuller, DPJ, Sterling Shepard, Dalton Schultz, and Hayden Hurst. So definitely heavy on AFC North.
Love it.
I'm gonna hold off just because
you got it. I haven't fully. Oh, okay. I got it. I haven't fully formed all my late round run, and that's probably a good thing. So I don't get too attached to guys on May 9th. But I haven't fully formed all of my late round running. I got a couple guys, but I mostly cycle through.
I've been concentrating, and it's for pretty much the same reasons that we talked about the other day. We want pieces of the Cardinals offense. We know James Conner is not going to play a full year. What happens if he goes down in preseason? Who the hell is going to play? It's Eno Benjamin or the 6th round rookie that they just drafted, who also played at USC in Texas. Like, he was a former 5-star recruit. The man's got draft capital, or not really draft capital. He's got pedigree. I'm gonna bet on some talent and just hope that he kind of goes through. And if James Conner, when James Conner gets hurt, he's going to be the guy on the field, not Eno Benjamin, the 7th round rookie from it's the same
ASU
coaching staff. But So I'm just concentrating right now. My thought is all of that's going to go to shit in about 2-3 months when they sign somebody off off waivers. But I'd rather take the shots right now. Like, I'm getting him literally for free in the 18th round. Like, doesn't hurt me at all.
It's worth it. It's worth it to me. That's what Bullock says. Yeah. Replace Sony with just an underline, and then like insert, veteran free agent. here for sure. We can hit the board, and obviously we got Jay Monroe, who was here, and we ran down our team already from the 9 spot. Started Devontae, Andrew. Playing to the crowd here with no running backs early. Double tapped elite tight end. That's interesting. And Hurts. And with the Devonta Smith.
Miles Sanders.
Loaded. Melvin
he's been arguing heavy for Melvin.
Melvin is a big everyone in the Discord is big on Melvin, and I have to stand up for Javonte, and it comes off as like I'm anti-Melvin in the freaking Discord. Everybody's like, stop arguing, stop arguing about Melvin. I'm like, I drafted a lot of Melvin too, but you guys got to stop talking about Melvin Gordon. Let's talk about Javonte every once in a while.
Yeah, well, Roe's been the big proponent of Melvin. He's been like, I'm taking 45% Melvin Gordon. So he's sticking to his brand.
I get it. 30-year-old running backs. 30-year-old running backs. They're
stacks the Derek Carr to Devontae Adams, Rondale Moore.
Wow.
The olds with Rojo. So sticking to the AFC West.
Tim Patrick, David Bell.
Took your guy David Bell, Naheem Hines, Tyrion Davis Price.
He got Tolbert.
He took Tolbert from us.
Wow, that's a nice team.
Yeah, it is a very good team. Although, does he need?
I don't know.
I guess he does. He does kind of need Braxton Berrios, but I think I'd go somewhere else.
Yeah,
looking at the wide receiver 4 for the Jets.
I don't know if you're aware, but your running backs are pretty weak, Jay Monroe. We're a little worried about him. So I don't know if Braxton Berrios was necessary. But if we're complaining about an 18th round pick, Silas just drafted a guy who's going to be on the practice squad.
No, he's getting cut. He's not making the roster.
Yeah, you're right. He's gonna be on like the Jags practice squad or something. One more. Corbin from the 3 spot.
So Kupp, Swift, Connor, Mahomes, Brees, Mooney, Elijah, Hawkinson. He took both the falling value on Mahomes and Hawkinson.
Yeah, that's
Woods
nice.
Got kind of value on Cook. Took Madison as contemporary. Alberto, Jahan Dotson, Zach Wilson, Sammy Watkins, AJ Green, Julio, and Romeo Dukes. So he went completely unstacked. Mahomes here.
I was waiting for the stack to come because I don't really have a problem with like literally any pick that was made here, and it seems like I'm just trying to you think about the ADP that you were just like scooping all this value that was coming up, which I like. Other than like maybe Robert Woods, who I'm not high on, but we talked about the Thielen thing. It's like, I can't really say like, oh, I love Adam Thielen at his price and then shit on somebody for taking Robert Woods. They're really not that different. So, but yeah, I would, my personal take on this is what you did, how you started your draft was good. Your player takes were good. Your scooping value was awesome. But then at a certain point, it can't just be all scooping value. You do have to build some kind of, story to your team. And so even if honestly, if you have to reach for McColl over whoever you took there, like you have to eventually, or I don't know, take who's the Justin Ross in the 18th.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, he went. I think he said he went in the 17th. Unfortunately,
Jesus Christ,
but he took Julio, and Julio fell as well. Oh, I'm big on Justin Ross.
I get it, but isn't that so funny? How long ago would it have been that like people would just laughed you off the stage if you or an undrafted rookie free agent that teams are worried if he's going to be able to walk in a few years, and we're like, oh yeah, we gotta draft this guy. But I totally agree.
I thought people were going to be laughing at me for taking him in the 18th. Now he's going up to the 17th.
Yeah, he's gonna be popular, but I mean, I get it. What's the difference if you're taking Braxton Berrios or whatever back there? Why not take a shot on Ross? But like that's what I'm saying for this team. Like if you have to take him in the 17th, he's the last remaining Chiefs player. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. 17th or 18th round, it doesn't matter.
Well,
just get that.
He could have went MVS over Robbie Woods.
okay, well, you should have fucking went MVS over
Exactly.
Robert Woods. One's going to score a lot of fantasy points in a lot in like 4 weeks out of the year, get you a lot of points, and you have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's the team itself is nice. Like season long, I'd be pumped about this team. But
yeah,
in best ball, where we need to have correlated weeks to actually make sure that we're moving on, like you need to make it cohesive. And it just you're just throwing it all out there. This team will probably, like, looking at it, it will probably advance. Like it might win our league, but it probably is dead for the $2 million. So
yeah. It's a good team, and this is another good point. I'm gonna try to do some content about like the actual specifics of doing these drafts, right? Because like sometimes it like you got 30 seconds to make a pick, and sometimes like you I forget what round it was where 8th round or something like that, you were like, oh shit, all 4 of the guys that I wanted go, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Maybe there's not a pocket of the draft that it fits for you. And that's kind of what Corbin's talking about. He was like, I was going to take a flyer on one of these guys, but it just, it never kind of fell together in the draft. So that's just how it goes. That's why we get 150 cracks at it and not just one.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's all about critical thinking skills. And that's why this format's awesome. Like, we're thinking through a draft that we have 30 seconds to draft or 8 hours to draft, which I'm not going to sit here and advertise for slow drafts, although I am in right now just to but like, yeah, you're going to take your shots. It's how better of a critical thinker and how much more can you correlate and effectively build your team than the 11 other people in your draft. Use 100%. Them. It's the best format. It's friggin' awesome, and wouldn't change best ball for anything.
100%.
Why I fell in love with
draft. Yeah. So we will be back again every single Monday. Rob at King Coakley will be back tomorrow with the football show around this similar time. Yeah, the over analysis. That's what you get here. We're gonna belabor the fact that you didn't take an undrafted rookie in the 17th round on your team. That's the that's the level of analysis that you're gonna get here. But in case you're new, haven't watched one of the shows, anything like that, it's officially freaking 2022 best ball season. So every weekday, Monday through Friday, we will be doing content around this time. The schedule is on the website. There's a different show every single day. Mondays and Fridays are when we do drafts. Silas will be joining me on Mondays, and then Rob has the show tomorrow, which I actually don't know what the plan is for tomorrow's show. Hopefully Rob is actually doing his job. That would be good. But Silas, anything else you got before we get out of here?
No, I think we'll touch on what I wanted to talk about next week.
Perfect. All right, guys. Enjoy the drafts. We'll definitely be doing a lot of stuff once the schedule comes out, which is Thursday, right? Is the 12th?
The 12th. So is that Thursday? Yeah, I'm losing track of days.
I'm bad at
I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation Wednesday.
Yeah,
Friday.
exactly.
It's all blended in together.
But somebody had asked in the chat earlier about what do you think about the schedule. I promise you, we will get into all the schedule stuff. That's our big, kind of next key date of the off season. We'll get into all that very, very shortly in just a few days. But for Silas and for myself, we will see you guys next week.